Do you ever wonder if the modern world is making us sick? Here in America, it is said that around 60% of the population has a chronic illness. Now, I'm sure there's a million theories on what exactly is making all of us so sick. But personally, I'm wondering if the real problem isn't one or two culprits like processed food or sedentary lifestyles, though both of those things are obviously a contributor to poor health. But I more so wonder if the problem, on the deepest level, is really just the modern way of life as a whole. Now, in many of my videos, I like to state facts and show data to support my claims. But this video is just simply going to be me thinking out loud. I just want to give you the heads up right away at the very beginning, and also remind you to not take anything in this video or my channel as medical advice. I am simply a man with a chronic illness who is trying to get healthy again. But let's stop and think about the modern world for a minute. Is the way that the average person living in the Western world conducting their lives, is that really a lifestyle that promotes health and wellness? I personally find it hard to believe. What do most of us do with our free time? We watch movies, TV shows, play video games, doom scroll through social media, and that seems to be about it. From my perspective, it doesn't even seem like people have hobbies anymore. It feels like there was a time where if you asked someone what they were doing on the weekend, they might have said something like, "I'm going skiing," or "I'm doing some wood carving," "I'm knitting a sweater," or "I'm playing a recreational sport." But it seems like nowadays, if you ask your coworkers what they did over the weekend, it's very likely the highlight of their weekend involves staring at a screen in some capacity. Now, I want to be clear. Obviously, there are still plenty of people out there living in the world with real hobbies, but it just seems like the number of extracurricular activities is diminishing in the modern way of life. And well, I know I said this video was going to be just my personal thoughts, but I couldn't help looking up one statistic regarding the subject of hobbies. So, with just a quick Google search, I found the following information. It says while 89% of US adults report having at least one hobby, the nature of hobbies has shifted toward passive, screen-based activities over traditional active pursuits. People often feel they have less time, leading to a rise in micro-hobbies or monetizing hobbies as a side hustle rather than using them solely for rest. There is so much to talk about in just that one statement. 89% of Americans say they have at least one hobby, but those hobbies have shifted mostly to screen-based activities. Is that really keeping us healthy, or is that making us sick? I don't feel like you have to be a rocket scientist to figure that one out. Or, what about the second half of that statement, where people tend to monetize their hobbies as side hustles rather than using them solely for rest? Man, aren't we all guilty of that one? I know even for myself, I put this unnecessary pressure on myself that I need to make something happen with my music and songwriting, because if I don't, then I failed, somehow. When the reality is that for the majority of human history, songs and crafts and just general creative endeavors were rarely shared with others, and they certainly weren't shared on a mass scale. But we now live in the world where even our hobbies have become a business. And I want to be clear, I fully recognize the hypocrisy of me saying this as I'm trying to make YouTube videos about health and wellness while being sick. We are just so utterly consumed by the digital world, and we're losing the real human, authentic, and meaningful connections of everyday, ordinary life. But the modern world also comes with more problems than just screens. What about the plague of convenience? Yeah, the plague. The fact that we never have to work or wait for anything, but we have instant gratification. And as a result, we expect instant results from others. You know, it was not that long ago in history where you would write a letter to someone and have to wait days or weeks for a response. Now we live in the world where we can get upset if someone doesn't respond to us within the hour. Is it possible that these high expectations and standards are causing more stress on our bodies than we realize? And yes, of course, what about the processed foods? The quick stops, prepackaged, empty calories that we feed our bodies with on a daily basis. Why did we ever decide that the convenience of quick food was more important than growing and raising our own healthy, organic, and natural food. What about exercise? We live in a world now where if you exercise for 30 minutes to an hour a day, you're considered athletic. But our ancestors would have worked in the fields and gone hunting for who knows, 8 to 12 hours a day. They would have built their homes with their hands, managed their own farms, made their own clothes, cooked homegrown meals. And now some of us have to hire someone who will motivate us to go outside and walk for 30 minutes a day. On that note, when did we decide to stop going outside? We now live in a world where we spend most of our time inside four walls, breathing in stale air, with a few windows so we can look outside and pretend to care about nature. And when we finally do go outside, we put on sunscreen, bug spray, shoes, and anything else we can to protect us from the world outside. Now, I'm not saying any of that stuff is bad. By all means, if you're going to go out in the sun for a few hours, throw on some sunscreen. But my point, I think, is that it's just ironic because of how we used to live. Maybe we only need sunscreen now because we rarely see the sun. Just some food for thought. Man, I seriously can't help myself with these statistics, even when I try. Anyway, check this out. The average American spends only 7% of their life outdoors, which equates to less than half a day per week, with surveys indicating that over half of adults spend 5 hours or fewer in nature weekly. Other estimates suggest a majority, 58.8, spend 1 hour or less outside daily. 7% of our lives outdoors. That's it. And I'm sure this number is only dropping. We live on such a beautiful earth, with waterfalls, lakes, oceans, mountains, deserts, fields, forests, and so much more. And yet we live in such a way that we will rarely see them in our lives. Somehow, as a society, we think that we're in the golden age of human history, that modern medicine is saving more lives than it's hurting, that modern conveniences are making life easier, not harder, that people are more productive in building things faster than ever before, and that we are the most intellectual generation in all of history. But I think if you were to ask me, I believe every single one of those statements is false. From what I can see, we are the sickest generation in history. We are more lonely and isolated than ever before. We are so dependent on others for our survival that our ancestors would laugh at us if they could see us now. We all have endless information at our fingertips, and yet we all seem to know nothing. All of this, in my opinion, seems to be making us more and more sick. Not just sick physically, though that is part of it, but also sick emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. And in my humble opinion, I think we need to wake up and change course before it's too late and slowly reclaim our lives again. Get back to our roots and experience real life again. Now, I'm not saying banish all technology and go live like a hermit in the woods. That's not at all what I'm saying. But something has got to give. Otherwise, in the not too distant future, and in many ways it's already come, we will simply be a mindless race of zombies staring into the endless void of the internet until one day we wake up and realize our whole life is gone and we spent the entire time staring at a rectangle. Honestly, I don't know what the answer is, but I think a good place to start would be turning off our devices from time to time. Even if that means turning off this video right now so that you can help yourself, then go for it. Because I think we've forgotten what it's like to have our feet in the grass, to walk on the beach, to sit outside on a warm summer night, to build things with our hands, to go see family and friends with no agenda. And my goodness, could you imagine going and doing something exciting and adventurous and not posting about it online? What happened to that world that we used to live in? Is it gone forever, or can we still bring it back? What do you think, my friend? Share your thoughts down below, and until next time, please take care, God bless, and we'll see you soon. Adios.